back to the recap of Freshman Wyatt Young
and freshman Jack Boone. Today we are discussing how long the NBA will be able to stay out of the bubble, like how they played in last year's playoffs and championship. Jack, recently some players in the NBA, a lot more teams have started to get COVID and have to quarantine for a certain amount of days. Do you think the NBA will end up going back to the bubble?
I do not, just because there's a lot of guidelines now in the NBA and a lot of rules, and the teams that are getting COVID are getting consequences just because they aren't following these guidelines that are put in place to keep players and fans safe from this pandemic. And so if they do start following these, I feel like the COVID count and players will go down, and they won't have to go in the bubble in Florida again. And then within the next season or two, do you think that the NBA is ever going to go back to Florida into that bubble?
Well, if COVID continues, then most likely they will, especially around more serious times of the year, like playoffs and just towards the end of the season when teams are really trying to make that final run. But I'm really interested to see if they end up getting their schedule fixed again, getting back to 82 games and playing in the right time frame, because usually they take the whole summer off and come back in the fall and get done in the spring. But now it's all messed up, and they could get done in the spring, but then come right back again in the mid-summer. And players like LeBron James and the Lakers who played in the championship, they had one of the shortest off seasons in history. I think the shortest.
What about the summer league? What do you think about that? Do you think that they're gonna go in the bubble since people are returning from seeing family and all that?
I really don't know what they're gonna do about summer league. I mean, they could maybe move it to winter and call it a winter league and have them play, but I don't know what they would do about a bubble.
I think the NBA is starting to get less and less strict as time goes on, and that we're learning about this pandemic, because they're allowing more and more fans to come to games as long as they're spaced out correctly and wearing their mask correctly. And the other game, a fan tried to touch the ball that went out of bounds, and the ref swatted him back and said you couldn't touch that, and the player had to go into the stands just to go get the ball, which makes things a little bit harder. But as long as fans can attend the games and have fun like they did before the pandemic, I think I'm all in for it. What about you, Wyatt? Do you support that?
Yeah, I do. I mean, it's very hard with the guidelines to be able to just keep the NBA environment, but they're doing a good job keeping the players safe and keeping the fans safe. So as long as they keep that up, I support it. Thank you for tuning into the recap with freshman Jack Boone
and freshman Wyatt Young.